Don't forget the website bbc.com/news for all the latest on the heat waves as records keep on being broken across the UK and in Europe. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hello, this is Impact. I'm Yalda Hakim. Blistering heat across Europe as the UK records the hottest day on record. Wildfires continue to burn in Portugal, Spain, Greece and France.
Farmers are only allowed to use machinery until 10 in the morning and from 7 in the evening to avoid those sparks setting off more fires.
The UK's new record of 40.2 Celsius was set at Heathrow Airport in the past few minutes, with temperatures likely to increase further. Sri Lanka's parliament will choose between 3 candidates to become its next president as the island continues to face an economic meltdown. That's all coming up here on Impact. Welcome to the programme. The UK has just beaten the record for the hottest day ever. In the past few minutes, the temperatures have hit 40.2 degrees Celsius at Heathrow Airport, and it's still getting hotter. Western Europe is also sweltering in a ferocious heatwave, with wildfires raging in several countries. This is the scene in Brittany in northern France. Further south in the Gironde region, wildfires are still out of control despite the efforts of 2,000 firefighters. 37,000 people have been displaced. Some 30 wildfires continue to burn in Spain despite a drop in temperatures. This footage in from the northwestern region of Zamora, where 2 people have been killed in forest fires. Many homes have been destroyed. We'll be speaking to a journalist covering the wildfires in Zamora shortly. But first, those record temperatures here in the UK. With me now is our weather presenter, Nick Miller. 40.2. We're just after 1 o'clock now, and you're saying that it could get higher.
Yes, I mean, we hadn't reached the day's maximum temperature. The forecast is perhaps closer to 42 degrees Celsius when...
Nick, thank you so much for all of that summary and analysis there for us. Let's take you now live to Geneva, where the head of the WMO is giving a press conference on the heat waves across the world. Let's just have a listen in.
Becoming more common, and in the coming decades, it's going to be milder than.
Yeah, indeed, Joe. You should get out of the sun now. I mean, we don't envy you. Thanks so much for that update. Stay with us here on Impact. Still to come. Blistering heat across Europe as the UK records the hottest day on record. Wildfires continue to burn in Portugal, Spain, Greece and France. This is Impact on BBC World News. I'm Yalda Hakim. More on our top story now. The UK has just beaten the record for the hottest day ever. Western Europe is also sweltering in a ferocious heatwave, with wildfires raging in several countries. Jessica Parker is in the southwest of France, near Bordeaux. That was Jess Parker near Bordeaux in southwest France. Let's look at the situation now in Spain. I'm joined now by Juan Navarro Garcia. He's a journalist with Spanish newspaper El País and is covering the fires in Zamora for us in the northwest. Thank you very much, Juan, for joining us here on the programme. We've been hearing a lot about the conditions here in the UK. We've just hit a record high of 40.2. But the situation there where you are is devastating as well.
You are going to learn a lot. You are going to enjoy a lot of these places.
Okay, Juan Navarro Garcia, thank you so much for that update there from Zamora.
Thank you.
Well, stay with us here on Impact. Coming up in the next few minutes, protests continue across Sri Lanka ahead of Wednesday's vote to elect a new president. We'll be speaking to the former state foreign minister in Colombo. Stay with us. Hello, this is Impact. I'm Yalda Hakim. Ferocious temperatures across Europe as the UK endures its hottest day on record. The new high of 40.2 degrees Celsius was set at Heathrow Airport in the past hour.
This is so exceptional. You see that the fatigue, you see people struggling with this condition, and they are not prepared and adapted for it.
Scientists are warning that nearly half of EU territory is suffering from drought and wildfires are spreading in Spain, France, Portugal and Greece. In 2019, Prince Andrew gave an explosive interview to the BBC about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. We'll speak to the mastermind behind that interview, who's written a book about how she secured the scoop. That's all coming up here on Impact. Welcome back to the programme. The UK has just beaten the record for the hottest day ever. It's currently over 40 degrees at Heathrow Airport, and it's still getting hotter. Well, let's look at how this is impacting transport. Katie Austin is at King's Cross Station for us. And Katie, obviously huge disruptions today. Katie, thank you so much, and you should get out of the sun too. It's so hot. It looks so hot out there. Thanks very much for that update. Now, 3 candidates are in the race to be the next Sri Lankan president after former leader Gotabaya Rajapaksa fled the country and resigned following days of protests. The country's parliament will vote for a new leader on Wednesday. But whoever takes charge of the country will have to deal with a deep economic crisis. Sri Lanka is running out of foreign reserves, leading to shortages of fuel and medicine. The country's lucrative tea industry, one of the largest in the world, has been severely affected too. Our correspondent Sukunda Kramani has this report from Kandy. So Sri Lankan MPs will be holding a secret ballot on Wednesday to pick their next president. These are the 3 candidates in the running. On the left is acting President and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. In the middle is former Cabinet Minister Dallas Ulhapa Uma, and on the right, leftist leader Anura Kumara Dissanayake. For more, I'm joined by Sri Lankan MP and former State Foreign Minister Taraka Ballasuriya, who joins us from Colombo. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us here on the programme. Obviously, the Parliament is electing the new president tomorrow. Who will you be voting for? OK, we will be watching things very closely in Sri Lanka over the next few days. Taraka Ballasuriya, thank you very much for joining us here on the programme.
Thank you.
Now we're going to go to a break, but let's leave you with these pictures from Tehran, where President Vladimir Putin has just landed in Iran. It's his second foreign trip since his invasion of Ukraine in February. He's due to meet the Iranian Supreme Leader, Iran's president, and the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. More coming up after the break. This is Impact on BBC World News. I'm Yalda Hakim. Let's turn to Australia now, where an Australian government report says the country has lost more mammal species than any other continent. The 5-yearly State of the Environment report says the damage has been hastened by the average rise of 1.4 degrees Celsius in Australia's land temperature. It says unique Australian wildlife is being devastated by drought, bushfires and floods. The country's Environment Minister said it was a shocking document and said Australians should know the truth. Well, I'm joined now by Mickey Perkins. She's an environment reporter at The Age newspaper and joins me now live from Melbourne. Mickey, thanks so much for joining us here on the programme. I mean, this is devastating. I remember the bushfires last year, and we heard about the number of animals, koalas, kangaroos that were killed. And now this report, it's absolutely shocking to hear. Indeed, a real wake-up call. Mickey Perkins from The Age, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, you probably will remember the explosive BBC Newsnight interview with Prince Andrew back in 2019, when he gave details about his relationship with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, among other things. Here's a quick reminder of what he said. Well, joining me now is the woman behind that interview and the author of the new book, Scoop, Sam McAllister. The woman behind the interview and the mastermind behind that interview, Sam. Thanks so much for joining us. I remember this interview very, very vividly.
Indeed you do.
In fact, I remember you phoning me the first time you went to the palace, just, sort of 6 or 7 months before this interview took place. But just talk our audience through how it all came together.
Absolutely. Well, but I'm afraid it's not me.
You don't know who?
I couldn't possibly say.
Sam McAllister, your book Scoops, I devoured it within hours. Thank you so much for joining us here on the programme. Now, before we go, let me bring you some live pictures from Tehran, where President Vladimir Putin has just landed. He's on his second foreign trip since his invasion of Ukraine in February. President Putin is due to meet the Iranian Supreme Leader, Iran's president, and the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. So you're just looking at some live pictures there of Vladimir Putin disembarking from that aircraft in Tehran for that rare international trip that he's making to Iran to meet with the Iranian Supreme Leader as well as the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. We'll leave you with these pictures. We'll be back in the next few minutes. Hello, this is Impact. I'm Yalda Hakim. Ferocious temperatures across Europe as the UK endures its hottest day on record. The new high of 40.2 degrees Celsius was set at Heathrow Airport in the past couple of hours.
This is so exceptional. You see that the fatigue, you see people struggling with this condition, and they are not prepared and adapted for.
Scientists are warning that nearly half of EU territory is suffering from drought and wildfires are spreading in Spain, France, Portugal and Greece. We'll speak live to the Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization about the danger posed by the extreme heat. Amazon clamps down on fake reviews, taking legal action against the people who run more than 10,000 Facebook groups. That's all coming up here on Impact. Welcome back to the programme. The UK has just beaten the record for the hottest day ever. In the past hour, temperatures have hit 40.2 degrees Celsius at Heathrow Airport, and it's still getting hotter. Western Europe is also sweltering in a ferocious heat wave, with wildfires raging in several countries. This is the scene in Brittany, in northern France. Further south in the Gironde region, wildfires are still out of control despite the efforts of 2,000 firefighters. 37,000 people have been displaced. Some 30 wildfires continue to burn in Spain despite a drop in temperature. This footage is from the northwestern region of Zamora, where 2 people have been killed in forest fires. Many homes have been destroyed. We'll be hearing live later from the WMO. But first, our correspondent Gareth Barlow has more. That was Maria Neira from the WHO, and at that same briefing, the World Meteorological Organization said Europe's heat wave looks set to peak today, but we can expect temperatures to stay above normal into the middle of next week. Well, I'm joined now by Petteri Talas, Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization. Mr. Talas, you were just speaking at that briefing and talking about the impact that climate change really has, and that's where the finger of blame should be pointed. Okay, Petteri Talas from the WMO, thank you very much for joining us here on the programme.
You're welcome.
Now let's just take you live to Trafalgar Square, where you're seeing people sitting around by that fountain, that famous fountain. It's 39 degrees there. We know that Heathrow has hit well over 40 degrees, but quite hot in central London as well, with temperatures reaching 39 degrees. It's now just past 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we have been hearing from our weather reporters, from meteorologists, meteorologists who have said we still haven't reached the peak of the day and the peak of temperatures. We know overnight here in the UK, temperatures also hit a high, a record high. So lots of records being broken. Let's show you these images from Seville. No, I'm being told we don't have images of Seville, but it is 34 degrees in Seville. Just to give you a sense of the temperatures in Europe, 34 degrees in Seville, and that's the hottest in Europe, but 39 degrees in central London. You're looking there at Trafalgar Square, and we are, of course, following this story very closely. Now, Piers Hopkirk is in Charwood in Surrey, which hit 39.1 degrees earlier. And Piers, we're looking at images there of Trafalgar Square, people trying to cool down, trying to find some shade. What's going on where you are? Really not looking forward to that. Thanks so much, Piers, and try and get out of the sun. Thank you very much. We are getting reports now of new record high temperatures registered in France. I don't have the actual figures as yet, but as soon as we get them, we will be bringing that to you. We have been reporting that here in the UK, it's hit 40.2 at Heathrow, but we are hearing about a new record high temperature registered in France. We will be bringing that to you as soon as we get more information. Stay with us here on Impact. Still to come. Amazon clamps down on fake reviews, taking legal action against the people who run thousands of Facebook groups. We'll be live with the BBC's technology editor. This is Impact on BBC World News. I'm Yalda Hakim. Let's get more now on the heatwave. The hot temperatures here in the UK made their way north to us from southern Europe. Soaring temperatures in the mid-40s have led to deadly wildfires across France, Greece, Portugal and Spain. From Madrid, Guy Hedgecoe reports. Now, Amazon is taking legal action against the administrators of more than 10,000 Facebook groups. It says the groups are generating fake reviews on Amazon marketplaces in the US, UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain and Japan. The tech giant says the groups offer money or free goods in exchange for reviews being posted on Amazon. Well, I'm joined now by the BBC's technology editor, Zoe Kleiman, who's in Southampton. And Zoe, just tell us a little bit more about this story. Yeah, absolutely. Zoe, thank you so much for bringing us up to date with that story. And just before we go, let me just bring you some pictures from Tehran, where President Vladimir Putin has arrived in Iran. It's his second foreign trip since his invasion of Ukraine in February. He's due to meet the Iranian Supreme Leader, Iran's president, and the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. According to Turkish officials, grain exports, Ukraine, and a potential Turkish offensive in Syria will be discussed at this gathering. And as we were reporting, that is one of the rarest of foreign trips for Vladimir Putin since the invasion of Ukraine. Let's leave you with these images of London, 39 degrees there in Trafalgar Square. And as we were saying, 40.2 hitting Heathrow. We'll be back in 30 minutes' time. Welcome to Impact. I'm Yalda Hakim. We will start at the Houses of Parliament in London and the battle to become the next Tory leader. The four remaining candidates for the leadership of Britain's governing Conservative Party and to become Prime Minister have faced another vote by fellow party MPs to whittle the field to the final three. This is the scene live in the committee room where Sir Graham Brady, the chairman of the 1922 Committee of Backbench Conservatives, will shortly announce the result. Former Chancellor Rishi Sunak has led the voting since the first round last week. His three rivals for the leadership of the party and to become British Prime Minister, Trade Minister. Actually, let's just have a listen in now. This is Sir Graham Brady.
I will read the name of the candidate in alphabetical order with the number of votes cast for that candidate.
Okay, you just heard Sir Graham Brady, the chairman of the 1922 Committee of Backbench Conservatives, announcing that result. Let's go straight to Rob Watson, who joins us live. And Rob, that was short and sweet. Rob, thank you, as always, for all of your analysis, and we will, of course, be following the story very closely. Okay, well, as we've been reporting throughout the day, Europe is expecting another record-breaking day. We've had a heat wave across the continent and a heat wave here in the UK where temperatures have broken records. It's hit 40 degrees Celsius in Heathrow. Our correspondent Gareth Barlow has more. Well, let's stay on the heat waves in Europe and the UK. In the past couple of hours, the WHO has said the heat wave is likely to cause more deaths among the elderly and those with pre-existing health conditions. Health officials said they also expect challenges to health systems due to increased demand. This was at a briefing in Geneva earlier. Have a listen. That was Petteri Talas, the Secretary General of the WMO. Well, let's just look at the picture in Europe. Soaring temperatures in the mid-40s have led to deadly wildfires across France, Greece, Portugal and Spain. France has been particularly badly hit. Our Europe correspondent Jessica Parker is in the southwest near Bordeaux. Now stay with us on Impact. Still to come, Vladimir Putin is meeting the leaders of Iran and Turkey in Tehran. There are hopes he will agree to open up Ukraine's Black Sea ports to allow much needed grain shipments. This is Impact on BBC World News. I'm Yalda Hakim. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has arrived in Iran, his second foreign trip since his invasion of Ukraine in February. He's been meeting his Iranian counterpart, Ibrahim Raisi. Also in Iran is Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. First, this analysis from our Russia editor, Steve Rosenberg, on what's being discussed. Have a listen. Oh, Steve Rosenberg with the view from Russia. Let's look at the view from Iran. BBC Persian's Kazra Naji is with me now. And one thing that Steve said there, that was increasingly Russia has become a pariah state, but Russia can always rely on Iran. Kazra, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you always for your analysis. Now, 3 candidates are in the race to be the next Sri Lankan president after former leader Gotabaya Rajapaksa fled the country and resigned following days of protests. The country's parliament will vote for a new leader on Wednesday, but whoever takes charge of the country will have to deal with a deep economic crisis. Sri Lanka is running out of foreign reserves, leading to shortages of fuel and medicine. The country's lucrative tea industry, one of the largest in the world, has been severely affected too. Our correspondent Sukuda Kamani has this report from Kandy. Okay, before we go, some breaking news from here in London. The Mayor, Sadiq Khan, has just declared a major incident in response to a huge surge in fires across London. He's just tweeted this, that the London Fire Brigade is currently under major pressure. It's expected to hit 41 degrees Celsius in Heathrow shortly as temperatures continue to break records. We will be following that story very closely here on BBC World News. But for now, goodbye.
Hello there. The excessive heat that's been sitting across parts of